Hey everyone, please support what I do to help keep Greyhawk alive by subscribing to the channel. Also, please consider becoming a channel member to get early access to videos, exclusive live chats, quarterly adventure modules, and more. Thanks, and enjoy the show. So for the past year or so, I've been doing videos on various gods of Greyhawk, and it occurred to me that I haven't really told you guys that I have clerics for all of these deities available on the website, so I thought I'd go through some of them today on Greyhawk Ragnar. So like I said, last September in 2023, I started doing a series of videos on focusing on different deities in the world of Greyhawk. And just a little while ago, it occurred to me that while I've been going through these deities, I haven't also been telling you that there are 5e cleric classes for each one of these deities available on my website as a free download. I will include a link below. So to make up for that, I thought I would go through some of the different deities and their clerics and so forth, and tell you what can be found there. And I'll try to start including this information when I continue doing the one-on-one videos for the deities. So the first one is Wastri, the Hopping Prophet. And for those who will remember, he is the god of bigotry and amphibians. He hops around like a frog. He hates demi-humans like gnomes and dwarves and elves and halflings, and they enslave orcs and hobgoblins and so forth. Um, he's got a lot of frog and toad themed abilities, and so I thought it would be appropriate to do some of that stuff in with the clerics as well. So for example, the worshippers have to be lawful neutral or lawful evil. That matches him. Um, he has few followers, but it is rumored that his dank faith is spreading from the vast swamp to other marshy lands across the Flanaess, such as the Hool Marshes and the Mist Mark outside of Greyhawk. Um, Services consist of demi-human sacrifices, outre, musical instruments, and chants that resemble the croaking of frogs and toads, with thundering sermons, constantly stressing the credo of human supremacy and the subhuman nature of elves, dwarves, halflings, and gnomes. Um, uh, Clerics, like I say, have to be lawful, neutral, or evil. There are different grades, and they have different robes and so forth. Now, remember, this is for 5e, so I'm using the 5e rules here. They have access to the war domain and the special domain of their god. Every god, in the way I have it laid out, every god has its own domain, which lets them have special spells. So, I put that in there as well. And a lot of times these spells are just drawn from other classes or whatever. There are also a lot of new spells that kind of go in. My thinking while I was going through making these was I was always trying to draw on the original source material. So wherever this particular god first appeared, I tended to go back to that and just try to convert from either first edition or second or third into the latest version of the game. Latest as of right now. Of course, they're about to make an upgrade, but who knows? So there are new domain spells. Starting at second level, he can channel a cleric of Wastri can channel divinity Croak, which it lets you actually your character will actually let loose a very loud croaking sound. And if they fail saving throw, anybody in 20-foot radius has to make a saving throw. If they fail, they're confused. They have proficiency in unarmed combat. They can do a divine strike. If they're attacking a demi-human, they can inflict a D8 worth of psychic damage from the sheer force of hatred, and then it goes up at 14. They can also bring at 17th level, they can channel divinity for dampness and bring an area of moisture and so forth. So it's kind of a fun play on both the bigotry and the frog marsh type thing that Wastri's known for. So that was a lot of fun, and you can find all this for free on the blog, link below. The next deity I covered is Stern Alia, and Stern Alia was first mentioned in the Hidden Shrine of Tamolkan back in the late 70s or early 80s. She's the demigoddess of law and motherhood. She's the mother of the gods Hextor, Hieronius, and Stratus, who is the dead god who's at the heart of the storyline, set in the far west of Orc, which was the Sundered Empire setting, which was used for the Chainmail game that came out in 2000. Um, and as I've been doing, there's a clerical priesthood here. They have access to the knowledge or war domain or their own special domain, and there's a few new spells. Um, Bonus skills: clerics get a bonus proficiency in wisdom medicine, and are also proficient at intelligence checks involving knowledge or application of the law. That reflects uh, their lawful nature, and their use is as legal aids and so forth. Um, Also, at first level, you have a motherly mien, which means you have advantage on all charisma checks involving humanoid children. So you have this kind of motherly aura. um, you can also turn undead at that's your channel divinity at second level. You can at You can also use your channel divinity to do what's called Mother's Rage, to erupt in a paroxysm of rage-fueled protective ardor as if your very child were threatened by some enemy. Uh, when you do that, all enemies must make within a certain radius must make a saving throw or be frightened until the end of your next turn. Um, and until the end of your next turn, you also get a bonus to bludgeoning damage because you're just so enraged. You're whacking people over the head, with like a rolling pin or something. You can intimidate. You have an intimidating presence at sixth level when wearing medium or heavy armor. You can do a divine strike at eighth level. Um, just inflicting more damage. And at 17th level, you have the vitality of youth and are able to draw strength from the children in your vicinity without harming them. But by just having them around, you gain one temporary hit point for every humanoid child within a certain radius. Which is, I wanted to really lean into that protective, motherly aspect of it, and I think this really works well. Next up, we have Olidammara, who is the god of music, revelry, and wine. He's a very famous, very well liked deity in the central Flanaess for obvious reasons. Um, there's information about worship and worshippers, and holidays and things like that. The clerics have to be neutral, chaotic good, or neutral good. They talked about what colors they wear and so forth. They have access to the trickery domain or their own deity's domain, and there are a couple of um, new spells, and festival feast and Olidammara's bard spell and so forth. All that's in the book. You can hide in shadows like a thief. You are proficient in a musical instrument. You got a channel divinity. You can't turn undead, but you can use disguise as per the spell Disguise Self. At second level, you have a Hail Fellow Well Met, which gives you an aura of affability and good humor. Um, at sixth level, you can you have what's called the best medicine. You can cast Tasha's hideous laughter once per day, revelry and so forth. You can disguise self at eighth level. At 17th level, and this kind of leans into a a legend about Olidammara. I always mix it up. Where he has a terrapin shell, and you get to actually invoke a terrapin shell yourself at 17th level, where it gives you protection from the rear. And in fact, I include the entire legend, which I wrote up. We only learned about a little smidget of it, and I wrote up the whole thing as part of part of the flavor text. Next up is Saint Cuthbert, the god of wisdom, dedication, and zealotry. He's got a very well established priesthood with different orders, and they wear different things and have different symbols. All that's covered in here. His priesthood are lawful good or lawful neutral. Um, they have the knowledge domain or their god's domain again. They have new spells like beguiling and banner of the saint and so forth. A lot of these came from other books way back in the past, and again, I 5e-ified them. At first level, you get common sense. which lets you use your wisdom instead of charisma when making an intimidation or persuasion. So you're kind of like badgering the person with your force of personality, which I thought made a lot of sense for clerics of St. Cuthbert. Um, you have advantage when making an insight check because you have earthy insights at at second level. You channel divinity to turn undead. Um, you also can rebuke unbelievers, uh, which is really fun. It only works on dumb creatures. Um, and it basically lets you do you shame them into a minute. You shame them for a minute. They kind of like they hunker down and they're like, "Oh my, oh, yes, sir, you're correct, sir," and for a minute until they either take damage or they the minute's gone. They're hanging their head in disgrace for that time. You have folly of error at sixth level. Um, when you score a hit with your blunt weapon, that they get a wisdom check, and if they fail, they act as your friend for an hour, and as they consider a permanent change of heart. Um, this is some kind of rules for for doing that. It's not an automatic thing. You can also do a divine strike at eighth level with infusing your weapon with energy, and then at 17th level you channel divinity with the weapon of destruction of disruption, which basically turns your weapon into like a mace of disruption. So it's you're very adept at dealing with the undead and so forth. So again, I'm leaning into the older versions and the older spells and powers that their clerics had, along with some new stuff because 5e has expectations, and at this level, a cleric is supposed to be able to do this, and at sixth level, it's supposed to get another power and so forth. So you kind of have to uh, fill up all those expected slots, and wherever I did, I tried to go back to the original, but sometimes I had to make up brand new stuff to make it work. Next up, we did Nerull the Reaper, the god of death. Like again, there's a nice little write up of Nerull in the book. The priesthood, uh, they have the death domain, obviously, or the special domain of Nerull. They have ebony tendrils and obscurement as new spells. They get alertness. They have a scythe as a favored weapon. They can command undead instead of turn undead as a channel divinity at second level. Um, they can life drain at second level as another channel divinity power. Somebody loses one hit point. Um, it's just you suck out the life force around you. You're immune to disease at sixth level. At eighth level, you can summon a swarm of rats. And at 17th level, you get to destroy an enemy by touch once per week. They will just simply crumble into dust. But that's it kind of takes you out. And then I have a Nerullian aphorism here. Grieve not for the dead, for they are relieved of the greatest burden of all. And what could be better than to shed such a burden? Be joyous that the blasphemy of life has finally been shunned by them. I like to try to put in one of those little stories or a saying or something for each one of the divinities, each one of the deities, just to give it a little flavor. And again, all this is in the book linked below. And the last one I've done is Rao. Who's the god of peace and reason and serenity, um, intellect, and so forth. There's the usual write up of Rao himself and his worshippers and so forth. Um, there are some monks who worship Rao who follow the way of the hand, or maybe the way of the shadow. Um, there's Rao's for the clerics, Rao's domain. Um, they get the knowledge domain or the special domain of Rao. There are no new spells for Rao, but he has a lot of their clerics get other spells like identify and so forth. They also get bonus cantrips. They can turn undead as a channel divinity second. They also have an aura of serenity, where anybody who's raging has to make a wisdom check to keep raging and so forth. And beasts will calm down and so forth. You have a disciplined mind at sixth level, letting you get proficiency bonus on all checks against illusions and mind-affecting spells and so forth. You get potent spell casting at 8th level, so you get a wisdom modifier to hit points when doing healing. And at 17th level, you get true seeing, which it's spell basically, but you get it as a bonus power. And the Rowian motto is there's a time to think and more rarely a time to act, but in that time, action is wisdom. So I love those little things that are put in there. Wherever I could find one from the material, I put it in. Uh, there was also Ehlonna of the forests, the god of forests, goddess of forests, woodlands, plants, animals, fertility, that sort of thing. That was actually the first one I did in the series. Why I'm doing it at the end of this video, I'm not really sure. Uh, Ehlonna's clerics, obviously it has the same write-up as the others. They can either choose the life, animal, or nature domains, as well as the special domain of Ehlonna, where they have a new spell, I should say, stalk. They can track at first level like a ranger. They add Druid and Thorn Whip cantrips at first level. They can turn undead. They can summon a mount, either a unicorn or a horse. At second level, they have Woodland Stealth at 6th. They have Woodland Hiding at 8th. And they can channel Divinity at 17th level with an arrow of Beast Slaying, which is a neat thing. So it's the same idea. I'm taking some of the stuff from the first edition material because she was one of the deities that was detailed first in Dragon Magazine and then in the gold box. So I'm taking that and kind of reshaping it and reworking it into the expectations of 5th edition. I think it turned out really well. But that brings us up to date on all of the deities that I've covered so far in my series. Like I say, I'm going to try to go through my 5e clerics as I go through more of the deities, but I wanted to just kind of catch up, on all the ones that I had done before. Hope you enjoy this one. You will find some first edition D&D clerical specialty clerics. I haven't done the whole pantheon yet, but I'm slowly but surely working through those as part of my Dragon magazine series. You'll find that also in the free resources section. Beasts of the Flanaess, you'll see it in there. And I hope you're enjoying the series on the deities, and I also hope you're really enjoying that Faiths of the Flanaess book that is up on the website. If you're doing 5e, I've got a gazillion pages of stuff of 5e Greyhawk that will help you in your campaign. Not just the clerics. There's monsters and spells and all magic items and just all kinds of stuff, backgrounds and feats and just all manner of things that'll hopefully bring a lot of flavor and make your Greyhawk campaign feel unique using the 5e rules. So anyway, hope you enjoy this one. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will talk to you all later.
Thanks for watching today's video. Please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Below you'll find links to my Patreon, which helps make these videos possible. You'll also find the web store where you can buy my books, and my blog where you'll find all sorts of free downloads and other articles. Thanks, and have a great day.